Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to go ahead, as you can tell from the title of this video, right? A training on how to get leads in your home care agency. I get asked this question all the time, right? And I figured I might as well go ahead and make a training on it just to go ahead and let people know their options, okay? And so on the agenda of this training, right, we're going to go ahead and start with purpose. What's the reason for this training to begin with, right? And it's something I like to emphasize to my clients and all other home care agencies that I speak to. Okay, leads come first. Okay, before you have clients, before you have any other problem, the first problem you're always going to have is how do I get people to want my service, right? Or interested in my service. And so what I always tell them is that lots of leads make it super hard to be poor. It does, right? Because you have tons of opportunities to convert them into clients, right? And so problem, right? Leads don't magically appear. What's the solution to that? You want to force those leads to find you. And the tool that we mainly use is advertising, right? Advertising. Advertising is the process of making known, making your business known, making leads, potential leads know that, hey, I'm here, right? Now, with that comes, of course, let's dive a bit deeper into the problem. So you're not getting as many leads as you want because you're simply not advertising enough, right? And again, when you advertise, you're able to get leads. The more leads you have, the more opportunities you have to convert those leads into clients. Now, the solution to that, okay, advertise, make your business known. You want to go ahead and get these leads more, better, and in new ways, right? More leads, better leads, cheaper leads, and more reliably, right? Think of from lots of places, okay? And so what is the ultimate solution? Okay, with everything in your business staying the same, when you double your leads, you double your business, right? It's right because you have more opportunities to go ahead and convert those into clients, right? So first you have strangers, then you have leads, then you have assessments, right? Consultations, then you have clients, and then finally you have referrals. But without, you can't even have clients if you don't have leads, okay? Now, I want to quickly define, obviously, since this training is about getting leads, we need to quickly define exactly what a lead is, right? So what's a lead? Okay. Is it someone who clicks on an ad? Is it a phone number? Is it a door you knock on, a walk-in, an email address, a follower, a person that takes a brochure? What if you can message them? What if you can't? Okay. We have to get clear on what a lead is if we're going to be getting them together. Now, a lead is simply a person you can contact. Okay, so whether that's, you can DM them, you can email them, you can give them a call, whatever it might be. Okay. But, okay, now with that definition in mind, something should be going off in your head. You don't just want to be able to contact them. You want them to be interested in your home care service, right? And so that what we really want are engaged leads. We want people who show interest in your service and the care that you provide, right? And so you can see here this, quick depiction I drew. You have a lead here, somebody you call, maybe a list that you bought, or maybe that you bought from a place for mom, caring.com, whatever it may be. This person, they're like, I don't really know who you are. You just kind of got my number, whatever it may be, right? But engaged lead is somebody who specifically opts in to learn more information about specifically your company, your brand, and your story, right? That's essentially what we want. So an engaged lead is, for example, somebody who follows you on social media and you can contact them. That's an engaged lead, right? Because they're actively trying to know more or learn more about the things that you do in your business, right? An engaged lead is also somebody who gives you their contact info on your website or somebody who replies to an email campaign of yours, right? These are leads that have shown interest because they have given you their contact info or they're trying to engage with you on a platform. And these are the leads that matters. That's what we're after, okay? Engaged leads are the true output of advertising, of making your business known. Once you make your business known, right, through different types of marketing, right, people are going to automatically respond whether they're interested or not, right? So the next question is, of course, where can I get these leads? And so that's the next thing on the agenda, right? Where can you get them? So for a home care agency, there's two different routes you can go through, right? You have your in-person marketing, okay? That's like going to networking events, workshops and expos, community events, hosting lunch and learns, having referral partners, right? So, marketing to social workers, hospitals, hospice, getting them as partners and getting referrals and leads from them, right? Or that's also doing direct mail, okay? Putting an ad on a newspaper, on magazines, on a billboard. That's in person, right? That's things that you're doing in the local community. Now, another option to go ahead and get leads is online, right? That is from your website, right? People can go ahead and look up, hey, home care services near me. They click on your website, right? They can go ahead and either give you a call or submit a form in order for you to go ahead and reach out to them. They can also view you from any of your online reviews, right? Whether that's from Google My Business, whether that's from Facebook, from, sites like caring.com, care.com, etc., or maybe posting online content, right? They can find you that way, which ultimately lead to your website, right? Like blogs that you post, right? On maybe something educational like what is respite care, right? An article on that. Some type of email marketing campaign or a newsletter that they sign up for, right? Posts and stories on your social medias and even paid ads, okay? Now that you kind of have an idea where you can possibly get these leads from, okay, I want to touch on a quick subject, okay? And that is why online, okay? The online marketing space is still something relatively new compared to in-person marketing, right? The traditional way of marketing. And there is tons of material online covering the traditional method of marketing your home care agency. And for that reason, because there's so much info out there already on that, since it's, again, the traditional way, that's not something we're going to be covering in today's topic, okay? I want to go ahead and give you a different perspective, a different ultimate way, right? Because most of the agencies that come up to me, they're like, hey, Elias, I've tried this. What else can I do to go ahead and get more clients into my business, right? Get more leads into my business. And this is an avenue I like to go ahead and refer them to online. And I'm going to give you 3 different reasons why you should go online. Okay, we're starting with number 1, leverage and longevity. Imagine you spent 2 good, productive hours creating a good piece of content. Okay, that same piece of content, right? And content in this case could be a post, a blog, a video, an ad, whatever it may be, right? Something you're going to share with online. That same piece of content can be then seen from anyone, from someone, right? Whether that's 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, 2 years from now, right? I'm pretty sure you guys have, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, you guys have posts all the way dating back to, the early 2010s, right? Almost 10 years ago. Or actually, no, more than 10 years ago, right? And so people can actually, they click on your profile, they'll scroll, they can find your earliest post. And what's the beautiful part is that is what we consider leverage, okay? You create something once that provides value that can work for you around the clock. So imagine you created an article, right? What is respite care? Okay, you created it, let's say 5 years ago, right? What happens is, because that article is still valuable, because there's going to be constantly new people who don't know what respite care is, right? When they look it up, even though your article is from 5 years ago, they're still going to be able to get value from it. And that's my point. You create it once and you provide value to somebody and it works for you around the clock, whether they see the piece of content at 2 a.m., whether they see it at 2 p.m., at lunch, it doesn't matter, right? And that's what we call leverage, okay? Now, before I get into that, something I want you to take into consideration is when you're doing, for example, in-person marketing, right? If you compare the leverage for in-person marketing, the traditional way of marketing, you're going to realize that every time you talk to somebody in person, you're always gonna have to make that intro. You're always gonna have to introduce yourself. Hi, how are you? What's your name? That's not necessarily the case when you do that for online, when you create a piece of content, right? When you create a piece of content, you don't have to say anything. You already spent the 2 hours creating that piece of content. They just read it. You have already made the introduction. A whole bunch of people can now read it. Okay. Now, getting into that. So remember, this topic is leverage and longevity. Okay. So ultimately, what you want to be creating and what you can do in the online space is create a brand. Okay. That is, brand is experience plus marketing. Okay. Meaning how much time you've had in there, the reputation you've built up over that time, right? Plus your marketing. Again, marketing in the home care space is either in person or online. So think about it. If you're only marketing in person and not online, there's less brand recognition there, which means you're not going to stay in the game for as long. right? You need to make people aware, right? Make people aware of your business, of your services, make it known so that you get more leads, so that you get more clients, so that you build up more experience, you build up your reputation, and you stay longer in the game, right? So that's a reason to go online, right? Now, second reason, visibility, accessibility. Make it easy for somebody to find you, right? That is literally what visibility is. And especially in today's day and age where people, if they don't know you, the first thing they do is look you up, right? They look up, home care service in Georgia or something. If you make it easy for somebody to find you, right there, you have a potential lead, right? If you make it easy for somebody to reach out to you, right? Doesn't matter if somebody can find you, if they can't even reach you and actually engage with you, right? If you never pick up the phone, if, you don't have a contact information in order to go ahead and get reached out to, you won't ever be accessible. So the key here is being visible and accessible. And the best way for somebody to go ahead and do that, again, is online, right? While you or somebody, one of your employees are out there marketing you, okay, they can't possibly cover the whole city. But you know what can? Google. You know what can? Facebook, right? Especially that the whole town is on those platforms. You can imagine you're making yourself very visible and accessible, okay? Now think about it like this, right? Most agencies only have these couple things. They have the in-person marketing, of course. They have a website, okay, but it won't appear online if you look for it. And they have word of mouth. Okay. Now, imagine you had this operation instead. Okay. You're doing your in-person marketing, you have a website, right? That's ranking on the first couple of results, right? So when somebody looks up home care services near me, you're either on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, first couple of those results, right? You also provide great quality of service, so you have word of mouth. On top of that, you also have, again, what we stated earlier, you have the online reviews. You're active on Facebook, on Instagram, right? Your businesses, so it looks alive. You're posting blogs, educational content to educate your potential clients, your leads, that you know what you're talking about. You also have paid ads in order to go ahead and reach people that might not know they actually need home care, right? And so you being their first option, think about it. The conversion rate there is going to be really high. And then also you're doing email marketing campaigns, right? So imagine somebody who has this type of operation. They're way more visible and accessible than the previous case that we showed, right? This one right here. They just have this. Okay. Now, the third and final thing in order for online being a great reason to go ahead and go into, right, is your max referral potential. That is the maximum number of referrals or leads you can receive in your territory. Okay. Now, this is a home care business. Okay. If you can see from this graph here, you have a current home care business, probably can scale this up based on this operation up to less than $2 million a year. Okay. And that's just on word of mouth and doing in-person marketing. But if you notice here, in order to get to being that huge home care business that, of course, every agency owner wants to be, doing 5 million plus a year in revenue, okay, there's a gap there, okay? And what happens is it doesn't let you reach your max referral potential. But, you see, if you're not trying to hit your max referral potential, you'll never grow your home care business as fast as you want, right? And digital and online marketing, that's what it ultimately solves for, right? It fills in that gap so that you are able to go ahead and hit your max referral potential. Because if not, if you don't have that there, if you're not marketing yourself as efficient or as most as possible, you're not going to be bringing in, any referrals or any leads. You're definitely not going to be hitting your max referral potential, right? Now, I want to end this off. Okay, so you have your traditional way of marketing. You have, which is typically one-to-one, right? Where, you're going ahead, striking up a conversation with somebody, or maybe speaking to technically a group of people, right? If you go to a senior living assisted facility, etc. Okay. Now, more awareness, again, equals more leads. And so online, what happens is you either create a piece of content, you have an ad, you're marketing to everybody who's online, right? And that's the beautiful part of it, okay? It helps build more awareness. Now that we understand why online, let's talk about how we can get some leads, okay, from online. Okay, so now that we understand why we should be online, there's going to be two different aspects when it comes to getting leads online, right? That's going to be either using paid ads or organic. Okay, now I'm going to get into exactly what I mean by that in a second. So starting with paid ads, okay. Paid ads are a way to advertise one-to-many to your ideal audience, right? In this case, people who need home care service. Now, paid ads work by paying another person or business to put your offer or your services in front of their audience. Okay, think of it like renting eyeballs. So if you think, let's say a platform like Google, okay, Google has an audience of billions of people on the planet, right? And so, I would say 10 times out of 10, probably your whole town uses Google, okay? Now, the way it works is you pay Google to go ahead and place your ad on top of the other websites. So you're the first one appearing there, right? And what happens is strangers looking for home care, that type in home care services near me, right? They go ahead and see it. And this is where you're renting the eyeballs, okay? In the hopes of turning those eyeballs, that attention, into a lead and turning that lead into a client, right? That's how it works. Now, I'm going to already hear it, right? Elias, I've tried paid ads. They don't work. They never worked for me. I get it. I've heard it 1,000 times. And this is not the right question to ask, right? Do ads work? No, it's not the right question. The right question is, how well can you make them work, right? Just because you did them or just because you paid somebody else to do it doesn't mean it was done right. That's exactly what we're going to get into. Okay. Now, when doing paid ads, okay, there's 4 things or 4 problems we have to consider in order to solve them. Okay, so that's 1, knowing where to advertise. 2, getting the right audience to see it. 3, making the best ad for them to see. And 4, getting permission to contact them. Starting with number 1, where do I advertise? Now, there's 3 main platforms you want to be advertising from if you're a home care agency, right? And I'm going to recommend these based off, I would say mainly cost, okay? So number 1, Facebook, okay? Number 2, Google, and number 3, YouTube. Now, in regards to Facebook, okay, I recommend this for more the agencies who maybe want to get their jump start, maybe want to go ahead and pretty much start marketing themselves online, right? Because when you're starting to compete, and when it comes to traditional types of marketing, like in-person marketing, it's going to be tough to stand out, especially if you're a new agency, right? Like, what do you have to bring to the table? So advertising from Facebook, especially if you're starting out like that, it's going to be a great tool. Okay, so that's now things to take into consideration. These different, like categories that I have them in are going to be assuming best case scenario. Okay, so now the quality of the leads from Facebook can be anywhere between low to middle. Rarely ever they're going to be high, right? And so low being like, somebody who just needs you once, compared to high being, a live-in 24-hour home care type of deal, okay? The conversion rates, they tend to be low. Majority of the time, they do tend to be low, right? So maybe 1 out of 10 leads might convert into a client. If your processes, if your story's done, if you have all the things built out properly that make you seem legit, you could get it up to 20, maybe even 30%. Okay. Now, cost from these 3, and you're going to see in a bit, the cost tends to be lower to middle, right? So you're probably looking at anywhere like $20 a lead to $50 a lead, right? Kind of that range is what I mean by it, right? Now, number 2, Google. Okay. Google, the quality of the leads are going to, majority of the time, and if they're done right, will be mid to high. Okay, so you're looking at anywhere between probably somebody who's like, hey, I need 6 billable hours or 10 billable hours, which is on the lower to mid side. And then you have people like, hey, I need 30 billable hours, 40 billable hours, which is on the mid to high end side. And, obviously the high side is being 24-hour care. The conversion rates tend to be more in the middle, right? So you're looking at anywhere between 20 to 40%, I would say, or even 30%, right? And then the cost being, anywhere, if done properly, can be anywhere between $60 to $80 per lead. However, since that cost is a little bit higher, and might seem high in the beginning, it's just, the quality is just way higher, right? You're looking at, again, conversion rates to like 30%. So out of 10 leads, you're probably getting 3 clients, which is way more of the return on investment. Finally, we have YouTube. All right, so quality, right? Quality can be, since it's a bit more vast, since you're reaching more people, right, with YouTube, it's going to be between low to high, Okay, the conversion rates tend to be mid to high, right? High reason being is because the way you can transmit your message, the way you can essentially tell your story as a home care business, the best way is going to be through video, right? Because they can see a face, they can hear you, right? They can see the impact. Maybe if you have a testimony on the, or like a client, right? Whose life you've had a big impact on, you can see it right there in the video. You can hear it, right? And so the conversion rates tend to be a lot higher, right? We're talking anywhere like 30 to 40%. Okay. But however, the cost, right, to go ahead and do this is on the higher side compared to these two, because consider you need to go ahead to run an ad. You need to go ahead and actually create the video and edit the video, right? And so usually you want to go ahead, you want to have that as studio quality. And so that means you're going to have to spend some money up front, a couple thousands of dollars to go ahead and have somebody do that for you. Okay. Now, who should be seeing my ad? Okay, it's the second question. Who should be seeing my ad? The goal here is to be as specific as possible, right? So common variables to take into consideration when it comes to targeting, right? Specifically picking on who should be seeing your ad is, for example, age, right? The age, you definitely don't want to be, going for this age group, which is 18 to 24. It doesn't make sense. Most of them aren't going to, if they see your ad, then 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, they're not going to be clicking on your ad. Okay, so that's just be a waste of money. Now, for example, another variable you want to take into consideration when it comes to targeting is your area, right? The different zip codes you service, the different counties that you service. That's the main area you want to be advertising for, right? Obviously, you don't want to be, if you're in Atlanta, you don't want to be advertising in places like, California. Now, topics or interests, right? So, for example, when you're going ahead and trying to see who specifically should need your care, common themes when it comes to home care is like, hey, some of the elderly need transportation. Some of them need respite. Some of them need in-home, right? These are different topics and interests that you can use in order to go ahead and advertise for people that have a similar behavior, right? Now, number 3, what should my ad say, right? Very, very, very important question. Now, this can vary based off the platform, right? So with Facebook, for example, it's going to be very creative heavy, right? And the creative is simply the actual ad that they see, right? If you think about the way advertising works on Facebook, right, compared to Google, Facebook, right, people are scrolling, right? They're looking at their feed, they're looking at what their friends have done, they're looking at some memes, right? Whatever it may be. And what you want to do is you want to have your ad pop out. You want it to have them stop and actually read it. Okay. And so what Facebook does is based on its algorithm, right, and the client profile. So in this case, it's people who need home care service. It's going to go ahead and send this ad to those people. And since you're trying to specifically talk to those people, you need to create an ad that'll catch their attention. 1, hook them. 2, explain what you do, right, and how it might be relevant to them. And 3, make it easy for them to learn more. So this is just the creative side, okay? Now, if you notice here, there's go ahead and it talks about therapy. It has a review right here, just for further qualification, and kind of goes ahead and shows that. Now, when it comes to Google, when it comes to Google, if you notice, there's this ad right here, right? It says home care in Atlanta, and if you notice here, this one is more text heavy. It's not, there's no image. It's just the main advantage of having something like this, for example, is that, again, you're at the top, right? So people, when it comes to Google, if you think about the way how Google advertises, because it's different from Facebook, Google, people already have the intention of looking for home care service. They're already looking it up, right? So meaning they already know they need home care. People on Facebook might not know they need home care, or are actually not even looking for it. It just pops up, right? This one, however, is intentional. And so this is why the conversion rates are higher, because people already know they need home care. And so if you're the first one there, most people tend to click on the first result they see. And so if you notice here, it's just text, right? So it's long-term home care in Atlanta. Hire us and experience the highest level of long-term home care by our certified caregivers. Simple, right? That's how it should be. Now, when it comes to YouTube, okay, this is where, again, telling your story can really, really drive conversions really high. And you're going to see right here, right?
Home health care is healthcare or supportive care provided to clients.
So real quick, I just want to show you. They're going here. They're explaining their story, right? They're explaining, literally showing a video impact they've had on people's lives. The different services that they offer, how they help other families. See that? Showing them having a good time. This is really stuff. It's hard to translate when it comes to either a static image or just some text. When you have something like this, and again, I recommend this more for the higher level agencies, probably doing $1 million plus a year in revenue, to go ahead and do something like this, right? This makes sense. And then broadcasting this to your local area, and especially getting your targeting right, you're gonna see a lot of high conversion rates with this. But definitely starting out with these two, if you're not in that bracket, makes completely sense. Now, once you go ahead and get these people to actually view your ad, they're interested, they go ahead and click on it. Now, how do you go ahead and get their contact info? Okay, there's two different options in order to take their contact info. It's either one, a landing page, right? Your website. You go ahead and redirect them to your website where it has a form, or you go ahead and fill out the form from the selected platform. So, for example, on Facebook, here, this is a form from the platform itself, right? So you have here, right? Hi there, we will reach out to you as soon as possible upon receiving your contact information. So you have, are you looking for home care services or a job, right? These are qualifying questions. This is to see, hey, are we speaking to the right person, right? You just ask a couple of these questions, then you take down their contact info. If you notice here on Google, okay, this is on somebody's landing page. This is on somebody's website, okay? If you notice here, hey, look, this is the different things that we offer, okay? We're trusted, we're reliable, right? You put in some text there to kind of make yourself seem more as different from your competitors, and then you go ahead and take their contact info, right? And then finally YouTube, right? With the more Bright Star Care is it's a bigger agency. If you notice here, they go ahead and take your zip code because they want to see if they have an agency near you that can go ahead and help. Okay, now that you understand that 4-step process, okay, you can go ahead and have engaged leads from your paid ads, and so you have a better understanding of how you would advertise on each platform, right? Again, Facebook, the creative, second, Google with the text, and then of course YouTube with the video. In later videos, I'll go ahead and dive deeper to explain how each platform and ad, how you can set each one up in detail, okay? And again, since I don't want to make this video too long, I want to make it an intro on different ways you can actually get leads, okay? Now, when it comes to organic, okay, we talked about paid ads, how you pay a platform to go ahead and place yourself in front of an audience. Okay, organic is going to be a little bit different. Okay, organic involves building visibility and attracting leads naturally over time. It focuses on earning traffic, right? Traffic being, people's eyeballs, without direct payment for placed ads. Okay. And I want you to think about it like cultivating a garden. It's like planting seeds and watering it, right? That's not something that happens overnight like you can get with paid ads, right? Cultivating a garden, it takes time. It can take months, years, however it may be, right? And based on this, quick little image I made, you have here, you can have a video, you can have a podcast, you can have a blog, you can have your reviews online, right? It's just free value that you're providing. And, these people that are naturally looking online, they're like, hey, I want to know more. Right? And that's exactly what you want to be doing with organic. Now, organic will consist of 3 main things, ranked in the order of importance. Number 1, SEO. Number 2, content creation. And number 3, social media management. Okay? SEO. Most of you guys are probably more familiar with this, okay? And that is search engine optimization. It's pretty much a strategy to enhance your website's visibility when it comes to people looking you up online or looking for your services online, okay? The reason why this is important, it makes you super visible if you're done right, okay? We're talking like people looking you up or looking up services near them that you offer, okay? And essentially getting clicks for free. And that's the second point to it, right? It's super cost effective. It doesn't cost you pretty much anything. It just causes you to maintain it, right? And then lastly, of course, it is super sustainable for long-term growth. Right? When you start ranking really highly on SEO, if you continue to maintain it, that's something you're constantly going to have and getting referrals and leads from when it comes to your website. And so these are two things you want to optimize for, okay, when it comes to how you should work when it comes to SEO, okay? So if you look up here, right, we have home care services, okay? This is looking in the area of Atlanta, just for some context. So if you notice here, you have two different places. You have Google My Business rankings. This is this right here, okay? This part right here. This is where you can see different businesses in a geolocation or geographic area, okay? This is called your Google My Business. Now, if you notice here, for example, Prime Care Home Care Services. Right here, they're ranked number 1. The difference between ranked number 1 and number 2 is probably like double the amount of conversion or traffic. And on top of that, something else you want to be ranking for is websites, right? Like this, for example. You have Medline Plus that if you look up for home care services, they're the first rank, right? And these are the two things you want to be optimizing for. We're going to dive into that right now. Okay, so how can you go ahead and improve? How can I improve my SEO? You want to start working on these things to improve your rankings. So for example, number 1, online reviews. If you notice here, right, if you notice the difference between Blossom Home Care and Prime Care is that Prime Care has 5.0 stars, 31 reviews. Okay, this is really great when it comes to Google My Business, and it doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is, hey, either message your previous clients or current clients, be like, hey, do you mind leaving me a review? And of course, ideally you want it to be 5 stars, of course. Something else is going to help with, your Google My Business and also your website is making sure the information is matching across your website and your Google My Business page. Okay, so for example here, right, if you're Prime Care, you want to make sure that the times that you have listed is right. The emails you have listed are right. The different social links you have are correct and are matching that what's in your website to your Google My Business page. These are simple stuff, right? You can easily put in the work in. It'll probably take you maybe less than a couple hours to do. It'll actually help you start ranking higher, okay? Now, these are stuff that you usually set up once, okay? So like, for example, the information matching, all that stuff. When it comes to online reviews, and also I'm going to get to it right now, blogging, these are the little things that pretty much are going to help you maintain that type of SEO ranking that you have, okay? So blogging specifically helps, right? If somebody's like, hey, what is Respicare? That's a blog that you create. If you go ahead, if somebody types that in, what is Respicare, right? They're going to pretty much want to place you, especially you as an authority figure, you as a business owner, especially in their local area. Google's going to want to show that, okay? And these are things that you can do to boost your Google My Business and your website rankings, okay? Now, when it comes to organic, the second piece, right, other than SEO, is also content creation, right? Creating a piece of media, again, like a blog, a video, or a post that provides free value to your audience, okay? Pretty much exactly what you're consuming right now, right? Reasons why this is important is that it enhances SEO. Again, right, if you create a blog, it helps with your website rankings. It creates trust and authority with your ideal audience, right? With the people that need home care service. It also educates your ideal audience, right? Letting them know, hey, okay, so I know what respite care is now. I think that is something I do need, right? And then also, again, it's leveraged, right? You will create it, in the span of 2 hours. A person 2 months from now, 2 years from now can go ahead and view it. So again, you don't have to say it or you don't have to regurgitate it again. It's already been answered. That question's already been answered. They can go ahead and check it out, right? Now, what type of content should you be making, right? There's different types of home care content that you should definitely focus on. Okay, so number 1 is testimonials. Super, super, super strong when it comes to especially getting leads or making the leads feel connected, educating them, and creating some type of trust and authority. You want to go ahead and show as many testimonials as you possibly can, or at least have a section of your website that shows testimonials, right? Whether that's in video format or that is, through a picture with some text. There's going to be plenty of people that are going to click on your website and they're going to want to be like, wow, that person that they helped reminds me so much of my grandma, or that reminds me so much of my mother, or that actually could be me, right? So testimonials are super, super big, the type of content you can create. Educative content, right? So again, what is respite care? You want to also be, type of content you can go ahead and do is local community events, either ones that are upcoming or maybe a summary of a local community event that was like a lunch and learn, for example. Maybe new partnerships, right? Maybe you're partnering with a hospice. You're like, hey, if anybody's been looking into hospice or whatever, right? We're currently partnered with a hospice. If you know anybody that needs it, right, et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, your story. Okay, your story is super important, right? It's what actually makes you stand out compared to your competitors. And of course, pretty much advertising that, marketing that is going to be a superpower because, again, it makes you stand out. And so, of course, these different types of content is going to be, you're going to pretty much package this in different ways, right? Depending on the platform you're using. Okay. And so that's exactly what we're going to get into. Where should I post them? Where should I post this content? Okay. So for example, when it comes to Facebook, you can go ahead and post the local community events, right? Any upcoming or any summaries of the ones that you've been to. You can also do testimonials, right? Or /impact. Be like, hey, we had this super lovely lady. She wrote us a letter. This is what she had to say, right? Educative content. Hey, what's the difference between respite care and, another different type of care? And also new partnerships, right? When it comes to Google, utilizing reviews a lot, again, like we mentioned, super, super great. That's where, of course, you should be having that type of content, posting blogs on your website, and then also your story, of course, the thing that's going to connect people with the main reason on why they chose you. YouTube, again, your story, right? A lot of these are video, really video heavy. And so that's exactly where you want to leverage the fact that you want to be able to stand out. And talking about your story is exactly the place you want to be talking about that is on YouTube. Okay. The impact of your care. And then, of course, any educative content. Now, let's go ahead and talk about why you should be using both. Okay. So you have paid ads. Of course, again, like we mentioned, you have your ad on top of websites. Strangers are able to see it. Then you have organic. Okay. And so what happens is, I want you to think about it like this. You put your ad on top of the website, right? You have people clicking on it. Your ad leads to your website. Your website happens to go ahead and provide free value. Okay. Whether that's telling your story, whether that has articles that shows the reviews you've had, whether it has a video of testimonies of your story. From there, what happens is people start either sharing that or they actually contact you. They interact with the website. And so what happens is this causes Google to actually place you higher in the rankings on the websites, right? Or your Google My Business page as well. And what does that do? Because you start ranking higher, it attracts more people you want to be in front of. And again, what does that do? It drives it higher and higher and higher. So what happens is it's a cycle. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you start ranking higher naturally when you start leveraging the fact that you have organic content and you have paid ads, right? That's the beautiful part of it. Now that we've addressed paid ads as a way of getting leads, okay, whether it's using Facebook, Google, YouTube, and then also utilizing organic, okay, getting your website rankings higher, right? The type of content you should be posting to start building your organic presence, building your brand awareness. Utilizing both is super, super important. Now that we understand that, let's talk about implementation, right? Now that you have this knowledge, okay? You now have the knowledge to go ahead and create your own leads online, okay? By utilizing online marketing, right? That's paid ads and organic. And so I want you to pay attention to this graphic here. Okay, you have a current home care agency, right, who's doing less than $1 million a year, less than $2 million a year, which might be most of you here in this case, okay? You now have the gap between that home care agency and the type of agency, again, that's $1 million plus, $2 million plus, $5 million plus, $10 million plus, is simply the knowledge and execution. You now have that piece, you have the knowledge. Now it's just a matter of executing, okay? But you need to execute. This is something so fundamental that I don't think most, not even just home care agency owners, just business owners don't understand. Okay. It's simply about execution, right? Most of you, right, or at least half of you know how to scale your business to $5 million a year plus. The issue though, is that, you go ahead, you're on YouTube, you're trying to learn, you're trying to improve, you're trying to find out more information on how to make your business better, but you're not doing things that a $5 million a year business owner would do, right? And that's the problem, right? And so this is super fundamental if you want to grow not just yourself but also your business, right? And it's the rate you're learning, the rate at which you're consuming that content, at the same pace at which you're trying to change, right? Change your behavior, right? And I love this quote by Albert Einstein that perfectly sums this up. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? Because if you're learning, but you're not changing your behavior, you're just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. The change doesn't come from the things that you're putting in your brain, right? It's part of that. It's also what you do, right? The actual execution that you do, okay? And so that's essentially what we want to help you here with, right? That's our mission here at AdFelt, my company. It gives you the tools, we give you the tools and knowledge you need in order to go ahead and help you reach your max referral potential and also grow and scale your home care agency, right? With these types of, like these types of trainings, right? And so our implementation call, okay, we want to help you fill any gaps of knowledge you might have, okay? And also how we would go ahead and execute it, give you any tips on that if you need, etc., right? So we can go ahead and fill that gap, help you get to where you want to be, where you want to grow your business to, okay? So if this sounds good, you know, if this sounds like something you're interested in, sounds like something you need, if you want to find out more, go ahead and click on the link below, and I look forward to seeing you there, okay? Hope you guys enjoy this training, and go ahead and subscribe, like it, share it if you think somebody needs it, and I look forward to go ahead and seeing you on that call, implementation call, okay? Have a great one. Later.